All right, everyone, it's finally time for me to share what's been keeping me up at night all this past months and where Miss Fab is heading next. If you are subscribed to my newsletter, Fab Fridays, or if you follow me on Twitter, then you already got the inside scoop. But if not, buckle up. It's story time. The path to synthesis opened up 6 years ago when Elon Musk walked into parent-teacher conference night. Now, if you're a teacher watching this, you're probably like, what? Anyway, back to the story. So he reached out to Dahn, who taught his kids at the time, and asked him if he would be interested in starting a small lab school in the SpaceX campus. I know what you're probably thinking. Why would Elon Musk want to start a school in the first place? We know that A, he's extremely busy, and B, he can afford any school he wants. So why go through the trouble of starting a school?
No, I just didn't see that regular schools, they weren't doing the things that I thought should be done.
Like many of us, Elon noticed that regular schools weren't doing a good job preparing kids for the real world.
So I thought, well, let's see what we can do. Maybe creating a school will be better. And actually hired a teacher from the school they were at, who also agreed with me that there was a better way to do it.
So he recruited Josh to build a new school and rethink education from first principles. But what principles?
There aren't any grades. There's no like not grade 1, grade 2, grade 3 type of thing. Making all the children go in the same grade at the same time, like an assembly line.
So number one, ditch the assembly line model. No grade levels or age segregation.
Because some people love English or languages, some people love math, some people love music.
Here's the thing. Age segregation doesn't work because kids have different aptitudes and interests that vary across time.
It makes more sense to cater the education to match their aptitudes and abilities. So I think that's one principle.
And number two, problem-focused, not tool-focused.
It's important to teach problem solving or teach to the problem, not to the tools.
Learning to use the tools is boring and pointless unless those tools help you to solve a real problem.
Let's say you're trying to teach people about how engines work. A more traditional approach would be to say you're going to have a course on screwdrivers, a course on wrenches, and all these things. And this is a very difficult way to do it.
Yeah, no kidding. That's learning just in case.
A much better way would be like, here's the engine. Now let's take it apart. How are we going to take it apart? Oh, you need a screwdriver. That's what the screwdriver is for. You need a wrench. That's what the wrench is for. And then a very important thing happens, which is that the relevance of the tools becomes apparent.
If you follow me on YouTube, you've heard me talk about this before. Instead of teaching just in case, why don't we teach on demand when the kids actually will need the information?
I mean, the kids really love going to school. I think that's a good sign.
Elon also shared something else that he noticed about his own kids when it comes to learning and engagement.
For my kids, I do not have to encourage them to play video games. Okay, I have to pry them from their hands. To the degree that you can make somehow learning like a game, it's better.
Humans are hardwired to learn through play. So the more we can gamify the learning process, the better. Based on these principles, Josh created Ad Astra, an innovative lab school in the shadow of the SpaceX rocket factory in LA. So a few years later, Chrisman Frank, who at the time was the first engineer at Class Dojo, went down to SpaceX to tour Ad Astra, and he was blown away by the school, particularly with a class called Synthesis. Synthesis was the real magic of Ad Astra. It was a class designed around complex team games. Kids work through case studies and simulations and game-based challenges that are simple to understand but wildly complex and unique by design. Chrisman had never seen a group of kids so energized and invested on their learning. And while it was fascinating to watch, it also gave him a pit on his stomach. He knew that he could never give his own kids anything like this. Or could he? Fast forward a few years, now Josh and Chrisman are scaling the magic of synthesis and offering it as an enrichment program for kids all over the world. Imagine a virtual playground where kids get to make tough decisions and develop the instincts and cognitive tools and collaboration skills to deal with complexity, all while having a blast. Because learning can and should feel like playing a fun game.
Wow, this is so cool. I so want to do this.
You're learning by playing a game.
And it's really competitive.
And it's not like your ordinary school.
Because you really have to think creatively, where problems that don't really have an answer.
You have to do a lot of figuring out.
Wait, why didn't that work? We're trying that again.
I need to be ready to adapt because there's always new rules.
Kids learn mental models and decision making and game theory all through complex team games.
I like how such a simple game can be so complicated.
In school, it's usually like doing your own thing, but in synthesis, you have to work it together.
You can just experiment.
It's like a freedom class.
It's a lot easier to make friends.
Learning, it's fun. Why not?
And that's just the beginning. Synthesis is building a community of kids who want to make a ding in the universe.
You learn how to interact with people,
And lead with kindness.
because that's really what life is.
You either win or you learn. You never really lose.
Lose in school, there's less of an analysis. You kind of just go to the next thing. But this lets you have time to reflect to do better next time.
You want to keep coming back. You want to do a class every single day, and you just don't want to stop.
This is probably the most fun I've had in a long time.
The future belongs to those who dare to think differently and solve problems in novel ways.
You have to strategize and cooperate with your team.
Those who make wise decisions and lead with kindness.
You can't be like, I'm definitely doing this. You have to say, hey, maybe we should try this. What are your ideas?
And Synthesis wants to equip kids with a toolkit for this kind of future, but in a fun way that doesn't feel like school.
I think synthesis is like the next level of education.
And this is one of the many, many reasons why I've decided to join them as Chief Evangelist. It's not often that you come across a talented and passionate team with such a bold vision for the future of education. Elon has this quote that really resonates with our mission at Synthesis. It was not with the expectation of great success that I started Tesla or SpaceX. It's just that I thought they were important enough to do anyway. Do we have all the answers? No, nobody does. Are we certain this will work? No, nothing is certain. Is it worth a shot? You bet. If you know of any parents or kids that would benefit from this different and innovative learning experience, make sure you share this video with them. If you want to learn more about Synthesis, you can check out the website at synthesis.is or our Instagram and Twitter account. And even if your kid is homeschooled or goes to traditional school or is doing online learning, they can still be part of this community of smart, kind, and ambitious kids from all over the world who want to make a difference. We promise to put kids front and center of this learning experience. I hope you join us. It's going to be a wild ride.